Yeah, welcome to our monthly show. This is the show we're bringing a little bit forward this time because of the April month. We've got a lot of holidays and we want to accommodate everybody. This is the VUT Student Academic Development Support and Work Integrated Learning Show. Normally, the show happens on the last Wednesday of every month, except the month of August and sorry, why am I saying August? The month of December and January. So, but now we had to bring forward, as I've just said. Welcome to the leadership and colleagues at VUT Cooperative Education. We're having a special one today. Our guest from the center itself, Sylvia. We're going to learn more about her journey. We titled this The Educational Career Story Defined by Purpose and Passion. I'm sure you're going to soon find out why that title is so appropriate. This is edition number 14, which says to you that we have been on this journey for a very long time and we are forging ahead. Let me just allow Sylvia and Ndadima Velani just to say hello to you and we'll nicely start and dive into the show. Let's start with Ndadima Velani so that we can release him and focus on our guest. Mr. Mavelani, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to all the colleagues and the viewers out there. And we are looking forward to being educated and informed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm always happy to have you here, Mr. Mavelani, because there's always certain questions you and Mr. Mashala that I have to answer. So your presence is always very much welcome, and I think it just shows the integral nature of the work that you colleagues are doing. And last month we had Mr. Mashala taking us through the journey of his own. It was quite very insightful, Sylvia, just for your information. I felt like it set the scene, and Mr. Mavelani chipped in there as well. And we're going to keep on doing that. The idea is that we share with our stakeholders the details of what we do at the center. But yeah, let me welcome you. Are you warm? It's very cold today in Gauteng. I don't know about the other provinces, Sylvia.
I think good evening, all the colleagues and the listeners. I'm looking forward to the show this evening.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. Where you are, how is the temperature there? Around me, it's very cold.
It is very cold. It is raining. The whole day it was raining. It is very cold. And I find Vaal is more colder than where I come from.
It's not surprising. There's a big pool there called Valdem.
Yeah, it is not really surprising.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, let's set the scene. I want us just to go back and just get to know your beginning before we dive into the actual portfolio you are holding. I was intrigued to find out that you were born just around me here in Ekurhuleni, and you took a great trek to the province of Mpumalanga. Do you want to share with us that very beginning? Is it too long behind to remember, or is it still high up there in your mind?
I think it is still in my mind. I was born in Niger, Duduza. And then after I did my primary education in Niger, and then after finishing my primary education, my parents decided to move me to Secunda in Embalentle. The reason was because of the riots at that time.
I see. Yes. So they wanted you to go to a much quieter place.
A much quieter place, yes.
Yeah. We're going to focus a lot on your portfolio, but let's just give us a little bit of a taste of the portfolio, and then we'll come back into detail in the future. When I hear somebody says information coordinator, a lot goes into the mind to say what of information one is coordinating here. Do you also involve having to generate that information, having to store it, share it? Tell us more. What about information that you do, just to set the scene, and then we'll track on your journey and then come back to discuss it in details as a portfolio.
I think, in short, the information coordinator is a professional who is responsible for collecting information, analyzing and processing, and distributing it accordingly to the internal and external stakeholder. Yes.
So you don't just work with information, you work with the source and the recipients of that information. Am I right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because when we say information coordinator, sometimes it may sound like you're sitting at the corner there and you're just working with information, but
no,
it's more than that.
It is more than that. You have to have the information at hand, and then you need to analyze that information that you're having. You need to make sure whether the information that you're having, it must be updated. You need to inform the owners of the information to keep on updating their information.
And yours is not really clerical, it's strategic, right?
Yes.
Because that's also something that might be misleading, that it's just somebody sitting there that is pushing the information. But you engage a lot with that information and what that information is there for. So perhaps before we go deeper into that, just how does your day start, Sylvia? Just take us through a day in the office where you're gonna have to deal with information. I mean, you don't just wake up and you're in the office. What are the dynamics around this work? How do you start your day?
Okay, actually, my day starts at 4:30.
Wow.
Daily. Whether it's winter or summer, my day starts at 4:30. For me, the reason I feel like jogging keeps my mind fresh. And then the most important thing is breakfast. I need to have breakfast to keep myself going and ready for a day.
Yeah, because you expect it to be tough, so you need to be awake and fit. Let's acknowledge. I see we have. Is that Hope or Hope? Is that Hope? Hope, welcome. We can't see your picture. Oh yeah, we lost Hope. Okay, let's hope they come back. Yeah. So why is it so important that you start your day that way, Sylvia?
I think for me, it keeps my mind working all the time. Remember, the type of job that I'm doing, you don't plan what you're going to do in the office. You can really plan, but unfortunately, your planning, it won't work because I work with people coming in and coming out. Your plan for that day, it won't work because you need to attend to the person that is in front of you first before. That's why it's so difficult to plan what you're going to do during the day. So it is important for me to keep my mind straight.
Yeah. As I was talking to you, preparing for this conversation, it struck me to find out that this is like a kind of a profession or a career that you created yourself. Tell us the story behind
it. Actually, remember, I'm coming from Secunda campus.
Yes.
We didn't have this office. But fortunately enough, most of our students were part-time students, which are people from industries. So they have positions in where they're working. So with the help of the colleagues in Vanderbijlpark, I have managed speak to them about the problems that students are having in that site. That what can we do for students to be employed? And then they told me about this office. And then we communicated with the colleagues, the likes of Mr. Mabilane, and then he used to come to our campus and do the orientation for students. And then that's how I was actually I knew about this office and the professional.
At that time, obviously, the campus in Secunda was a bit far from the main one. So it sounds like you felt you were very disconnected and you didn't know what to do to help the students. And then you researched and found out that there is actually help that you can get. But what led to this point where you started specializing on what you are doing now, then when the campus was still in existence?
I think it is the cry of the student. I saw students were struggling during after they completed their theory studies. So yeah. I did my research what to do after they done with their studies. That's why I was communicating mostly with the part-time students, which are industry students, and then in so doing, most of the students got employed, and then I had to communicate again with the office this side that after the students after the student got employed, what next?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So were you the very first person to have to deal with this complexity of having to provide solution for which you didn't really have an idea?
Yes, I think the reason at Secunda campus, I was working as a faculty coordinator for engineering and technology. And then all the students from my department were supposed to undergo work integrated learning. So I have to do something about them because the cry was coming to my office.
Yeah, yeah. So now in hindsight, if you were to design this portfolio from the beginning, what will you see as the key pillars of this portfolio? Or what will you tell to people that these are the key pillars that that form this kind of a portfolio?
I think, I think a person needs to have, you need to communicate with your external and your internal stakeholders, and you need to be a person who responds to the request frequently. And then remember, this office, we receive a request, and then we have to respond to the companies frequently. And then the other thing where we also follow-ups. When remember, when we send the CVs to the companies, we need to make a follow-ups of the outcomes of the interviews. So I think you need to be a very flexible person also.
Let's welcome the Tim Hlala. Simon, welcome.
Good evening, colleagues, and thank you for having me also. Thank you.
Wonderful. Which part of the country are you today?
No, I'm around the Val. I'm not far. I'm still around.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, so we are talking to Sylvia, who's information coordinator at Val University of Technology. We're trying to make it clear and understandable that information coordination is not as simple as it sounds. There's a strategic intent behind it. And what really struck me as I was talking to Sylvia is that something seems to be linking her to this as a result of it being a calling, if I want to put it that way. That's why I wanted her to give us the context and the background. How did she find herself doing this? But as she's going to share with us her career journey, you will find that there's a link there. But there is a quote that I've extracted from her profile, which I would like her to speak to just now. And she says in that profile, my passion to work with people, especially young individuals, started when I realized that most students are not sure what to study and where to get information. I always say to them, the gap year is a no-no to me. Rather study short courses while you are still trying to clear your mind. It is advisable to seek clarity if you are not sure. Our offices are open at any time if you need help. So it looks like there are two categories of students. There are those who are already studying and they've decided and they need your help. But there are those who are coming and they're not quite sure whether they're really following the right direction, and you help them. Do you want to talk to that a little bit and also link it to your own experience, how you ended up doing what you are doing?
Okay, unfortunately, for gap year, life does not grant everyone the same circumstances. Choosing the gap year, one can lose momentum first.
Yeah.
But completing a short course, it won't be just a qualification to somebody. It could be a start of something. By enrolling a short course, one can find a passion, the passion from what he just studied.
So why do you link that to a gap year? Was there something that you were experiencing that people were doing that is linked to gap year that you wanted to counter with the suggestion that rather take short courses in that?
I think myself, when I was doing grade 12, I was not really sure what to study after that. So, but what I knew that I was not going to stay at home. I need to do something. So I registered myself with Lompeck Commercial College, and then I in Pretoria. And then I did my short course for secretarial course. That was a year course. From that experience, I just realized that that course opened my eyes for a bigger picture.
Can someone take a gap year and at the same time enroll for short courses?
I don't think if you enroll for a short course, it is called a gap year. You are doing something. Some of the students, when they take gap year, they forget about books.
I see.
Some, they decide to travel, and which is the waste of money that you're supposed to do something with it. They decide to travel, and during that time, there's so many things that can happen. So you can get hurt. You're wasting money. I think it's better if somebody does something. You can do short course via online. You can do a short course face to face, but it's better than take a gap year and stay at home.
Yeah. So what kind of a short course did you take that directed you ultimately to Lompeck?
I registered for a secretarial course, and then I did my secretarial course for 6 months, and then another 6 months it was called advanced secretarial. And then while we were still, especially when we were doing our advance, the lecturers then advised us that now, guys, you can apply for work, or you can, if you want to further your study, you can apply to work. You can apply for universities. And then I applied and then went to Technical Northern Transvaal.
Which is now TUT, right?
Yes.
the Ngube campus. Am I right to say that you wanted to become a secretary that you never became?
Yes, it is true. It is true.
Yeah, because when I look at your profile and your journeys, I'm sure in those years, a secretarial course was very much in demand, or secretarial skills was very much in demand.
Yes, it was. Remember, I was based in Secunda, and we have the only big companies there. It's Sasol Secunda, the mines next to us, and also the municipalities. So after grade 12, you see your friends, your sisters, they go and be office workers. So you also think this is the thing. If you're not going to study nursing, police, or the other old course, you need to go to the office. And by that time, Sasol was a big company. Everybody wanted to see themselves working for Sasol.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason why I want us to slowly walk this path that you walk, because I like the people that knock at your office and coming for information, in this case, advisory kind of information, to realize that there's a background that actually informs you in terms of how you engage with students. And for me, it's very interesting that, as that's why I say, you studied towards secretary, but you never became a secretary, because I realized your first job was a junior administrator at Sasol Secunda. Was that a shock?
Not really a shock. Remember, I was studying, but I was not sure where am I gonna be ended. So when after my studies at Technikon in Northern Transvaal, I saw a post on our local newspaper. Actually, I wanted not to go back to Mpumalanga after my studies. I wanted to get something in Gauteng, but unfortunately, after my studies, I went back home, and then there was a post for junior admin in Sasol. I applied, called, interviewed, and then I ended up in that position. Unfortunately, that position, it was not a permanent position.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it sounds like it laid the foundation for you. And I'm just imagining in those days, in factory environment like Secunda, you must have been one of the very few women who were among men in such setup. And how did the diversity or lack of it then in terms of gender affect your early years of your career at Sasol?
Yes, by that time, Sasol, it was mainly men and white dominated company. So it was few females who were at Sasol. And then it was, at first, it was very difficult because Sasol was, as I said, it was a big company. You need to be first, your dress code. I just realized now there's so many things that change at Sasol, because the first, when you go to Sasol, we used to travel by bus from your gates, the security guy will come inside the bus and check how the women are dressed. If you are not dressed appropriately, you have to leave the bus and go back home, and that day you are absent. So I think I've learned a lot at Sasol. You have to be professional. You have to be always be professional, punctuality, all those things, and then the diversity of the people at Sasol.
You did say to me that job at Sasol really made the Sylvia that we have today.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
I think what I learned from Sasol, you need to take what you are doing very serious. As I said, punctuality, it was a main thing at Sasol. You cannot, we used to use the clocking cards. If you are late in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you are not allowed to go in. You are absent. You need to go back home. So punctuality, I've learned a lot. Punctuality, and then you're also the office where I worked. We used to work as chain workers. If you didn't do your work, your other colleague can't do their work. So you have to work in chain, and then you have to finish your work on time so that the production can be produced earlier.
So I guess you might have also been referring, your personality must have been shaped by that. And what is the difference between then and today when you sit and talk to students about the world of work? And you want to prepare them not to arrive so that they can arrive there ready. What stand out? What is always on your menu of conversations with them that comes from that experience that you have?
One thing that I always tell students, I tell them, especially, I'm going to talk about engineering. Remember, I'm coming from engineering department. I always tell them that, guys, you are not engineers. When you go to Sasol, you listen, you respect everybody. You respect your cleaner, you respect your security, you respect the people you find there. Because
when you say, guys, you are not engineers, you mean you are not yet engineers, right?
Yes. I mean, yes. Because most of the students, especially when they're doing engineering done with their modules, they feel that I have my qualification. I'm now an engineer. Nobody will tell me. A security guard cannot tell me. A cleaner cannot tell me. I always tell them, respect people. If you want a brighter future, you have to respect each and every people that you come across.
Because they are there, they know more than you do. And then I guess today it will be what you call mentorship, right? The people you found there are the people that are going to handhold you, show you around. And during your time, it wasn't really defined in today's terms. And am I right to say that in today's terms, in this formalized structure and setup, that's basically your mentor on the job, right?
Actually, yes, it is the mentor in your job. The person that you find in your working environment, that person is going to be your mentor. That person is going to be your supervisor. Remember, you find them there. They know better about the company.
Wow. So, and then I picked up also that, I mean, you've been there for quite a while and you've done quite a lot academically. It looks like you never stopped studying. What inspired you to be so committed to lifelong learning and acquiring qualifications? And I think you're still studying even now, right?
No, I'm not studying at the moment, but I want to study something, but I'm not studying at the moment.
I see. But why is it so important? What will you share with the students around continuously taking studies?
I think things change. You need to refresh. I cannot say as I did my course 10, 15 years back, things are the same. People who studied chemical engineering 2 years, 3 years back, things have changed. You need to keep on studying so that you can be in par with the environment where you are in.
Wonderful. Do you work with the alumni a lot in your type of work?
Yes, we work with alumni. We also place them. Remember, we have a database for all the students who are looking for employment, looking for work integrated learning, looking for internship. Yes, we do work with alumni.
And how rich is your database with the alumni, and I mean not only in terms of numbers, but in terms of the impact, the role your alumni are playing, the positions they're occupying out there.
With alumni, with the only role that we doing, we place them. We find out whether you're working, what are you doing, and then we communicate with them that guys, even if you did something like a piece job, you need to upgrade update your status. It is something. Companies out there, they don't want to see a person who just sitting and saying, I didn't do anything. Whatever that you did, that you see as it's a small thing, you have to update it on your profile so that it can give at least a person who wants to employ you can see that this person is at least is trying, even if he studied something else.
Mobility. Talk to me about, from a practical experience, you moved around quite a lot. I know it was not planned, but you find yourself moving around a lot. I mean, from Nigel to Secunda to Mamelodi to Soshanguve to Secunda back to now where you are in the Vaal. It's not far places away, but you were outrooting yourself all the time. And currently, I think in South Africa, since the democracy, students can go anywhere. And I'm sure the students that are at Vaal are not necessarily from Vaal. What role is the readiness to move around in one's personal and professional development, do you think, plays that you can always bring in as an insight for the students to take with?
I think the person who move around becomes more independent quickly, and then you learn to do things yourself. You don't depend much on your parents. Yes, they can still depend on their parents financially, but when they are dropped in some other places, Northwest, wherever, they won't feel stranded. They can still keep on in that thing. I think moving around for a person, it gives that person more independence.
But during your time, nobody prepared you for that. Do you currently have a module within your preparation workshops that talks to mobility? I mean, I've come across your students in remote areas at hotels doing work integral learning, and I had wondered, what kind of preparation you give them, and following on the mobility topic, is this a subject that you really focus on as you share information and preparing them, or is it a question of just sitting with them and advising them? Just share with us how you go about it.
In most of the time when there's companies that looking for students, for instance, the companies from Cape Town, Durban, most of the students, they are afraid to go to those companies. They think Durban, Cape Town is far. I always tell them that there is no place that is far now, especially during our time we were traveling using buses, trains. You took 2-3 days to reach your destination. But now everything is simple. You can take a flight and go to that place. If you're missing your parents, you can phone them and see them using your video calls. There is no place that is too far, especially for the young generation. I always tell them that if you find employment elsewhere, not in your province, take it. No place that we call it is far nowadays.
But you will agree with me that this is a competency that we may not be looking at it attentively, but it is an issue. I mean, that's why I want you to share with us your own experience. What did you have to deal with, and to develop that resilience, that tenacity, that readiness to be moving from one place to another, and what can we do to equip students with that?
I think first it must be willingness from a person. Mm-hmm. And then another thing, I think they need to be taught that you won't grow in one environment. If you want growth, you need to be mobile. You need to go around provinces and see what other people are doing out there.
Yeah. That is the mobility in terms of physically moving from one place to another. Talk to us about, I wouldn't call it mobility, but I am again intrigued by you leaving petrochemical company and joining a hospitality company in the form of Graceland Casino. I would have thought that somebody that is working for a company like Sasol will move to a sector like hospitality. How did that happen? I mean,
I think it was just curiosity. Graceland, when they started building Graceland, I think casinos, we only have few casinos around us. So when they told us that they were going to build casino next to at Secunda, we're curious. And then we saw them starting building it, and then they started advertising jobs. I just moved from Sasol, but anyway, my contract was gonna end at Sasol, so I just left Sasol before the contract ended. I went to Graceland.
I see. So you saw that as an opportunity, and you grabbed it. And what job did you have to do after leaving Sasol at Graceland Casino?
The first job that I did at Graceland, I was a cashier. And then from cashiering, I went to be a safe cashier. After safe cashiering, I went to be a guest relation officer, a senior guest relation officer.
Wow. I think that must be where you pick up this ability to engage with people. Will you say that for someone to be a custodian of an office like this that provides information on a daily basis to people must have, one way or another, have the competency and ability to work with people, interpersonal skills?
I think, yes, first you need to have interpersonal skills. You need to love, you need to have passion. You need to love to work with people. You need to be a good listener, and you also need to not to judge people.
Yeah.
Listen and then give advice if you can, and then learn not to judge.
I can imagine being a guest relations officer of gamblers in the casino. When they've lost the money and you have to calm them, that must be a skill and half that you needed there.
Yes, as much as it was difficult, but you have to walk around and then talk to them, give them some complimentary things that were offered by then at Graceland, whether it's a accommodation for that night or transport home. You have to talk to them. You have to give them something to at least keep them calm.
Are you a caring person?
Definitely, I am. I am a very, very caring person.
That sounds like you deal a lot with that type of situation. Students rock up on campus and is not accepted yet, doesn't have accommodation. They send them to our office and say, go and see Sylvia. Maybe she has some solutions or information for you. And
yes. While you are talking about that, today we had a student that came from Limpopo. He didn't have money to go back. She didn't have place to sleep today. I'm talking about today. We have to organize. We call SRC. We said, here's the student. What must we do with the student? We wanted the student to start work like tomorrow. And then unfortunately, the student told us that I was here for interview and now you're telling me that I must start tomorrow. I don't have clothes. I don't have money. I don't have place to sleep. And the students started crying. And we called the SRC and we solved the problem. This SRC said, no, let's donate, guys. Let's the student go back and then the student will come back and fresh next week.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. That's why I say it sounds very simplistic to say as information coordinator, but there's more behind that information coordination. It must resolve problems that students are confronted with, and for them is real.
Yes, it is.
I guess you have one of your fans here, Makanya Ndombiendle. She says, hey, wait, I know Sis Sylvia in person. Such a sweet and humble soul.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Ndombiendle. Thank you so much.
You touch lives in this kind of work.
Thank you so much.
Someone here called Erwin Mavisa says, please help me. Please drop more information in the chat box. I'm not sure what kind of help is looking for. There you are. Erwin Mavisa is reaching us from the Facebook page. So let's just note it down. Maybe it might be one of our students or your potential students, but I'm asking him to put more information in the chat box. Yeah, so wonderful. We spoke about career mobility. I guess we can have another conversation on that because we're talking about students being mobile in terms of places where they go and do their in-house training, wheel programs. But in general, career mobility is a foundation for growth of many other people and also further studies. But you have grown tremendously. I haven't known you before, but when I talk to you, I can tell there's a lot that you can offer. Talk about the growth, the horizontal growth that you have experienced, and then of course the vertical growth. I assume moving from Secunda coming to Vaal, that was a vertical growth in terms of the level of work that you are coming into and more bigger environment. But how important it is for one to first grow horizontally or build a foundation and then grow vertically from your own personal experience. I mean, hence I was saying, moving from Sasol to Graceland, for me, it didn't look like you were really growing, but you're saying that there was another dynamic there. Talk to us about that and how you bring students to understand that it's not just going to be shooting up like a rocket. You're going to have to build a foundation. And how do you go about motivating them to look at it from that perspective?
I think the strong foundation, it is very important to all the individuals. You cannot start from the top. You need to build your foundation from, for instance, like from a work integrated learning to your internship. You cannot just go up. You have to, your foundation must be very, very strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you find your foundation that you built that Graceland is Sasol and many other places being very helpful for you now in terms of anchoring you in this highly responsible job that you are doing?
Yes, yes. The experience that I received from Sasol, from Graceland, it helped me a lot. Remember, I work with different. My colleagues were coming from different backgrounds. Graceland is another industry, Sasol is another industry, and then I came to VUT. VUT, I work mostly with young minds. So I think the foundation, it is supposed to be strong. You need to build your foundation very, very strong before you go upwards.
We always like to talk about how our own jobs actually transform us. There's definitely this element of transformation based on what you're sharing with us. But is there anything in particular that you think you've had to change that was so much you that is no longer you because of this role?
Let me think about that. I think really most of the things that I'm doing, I think it is me. Most of the things that I'm doing in the daily basis, most helping students, helping others, it was the foundation that I've built before. Yes.
So there was a connection between your personality and the job itself, which is not always the case. Sometimes people have to undergo transformation because of the expectations that their roles put to them. So you're saying in your case, it was a case of the hand fitting very much in the glove.
Yes, but I just want to add on that. Coming to VUT, remember, I was working Graceland working shifts. So in my mind, I thought I'm going to work the 8 to 4 work. There's no more shift, there's nothing. Little did I know that I'm going to work even during school holidays. I'm going to work during Christmas days. Students, they always have queries. There is no way that you can send them back and tell them that, listen, I'm on holidays. You have to help, lend a helping hand by that time. So yes.
Beautiful. How do you prepare these students, and in terms of conversation with them, for the shock that is always there when they leave the world of work and they go into the industry? I mean, it can't be easy.
It is not easy for everyone. Change is difficult for everybody. So we just tell them that, guys, you came from wherever, you came to VUT to study. You can also do this. You can also do this. This is it's a change, but it's gonna be a change for better.
Wonderful. How do you know if you're making impact? What are the key things that you measure? Your scorecard, basically.
I think we all know that South Africa has a high number of unemployment for youth. So by placing them with the companies, the student, they always come back and say, thank you so much, I'm working. The job that you placed me, I was doing my will, and then after completion of my will, I am employed permanent. Thank you so much for that. So I think that is a big impact in my role when the student come back and say, thank you so much. Some of them, they are managers now.
So that's something that you measure, the number of students that do well, that end up being given permanent jobs.
Yes.
What else?
Some of them, they also have their own business. Some of them now they are married. They also refer their partners that, listen, if you want, even if you don't want to study, just talk to our Sylvia. Maybe she can guide you on your future endeavors. So yes, I think I still get references from students that I've been referred by the student that you need to guide me what to do from here.
So that's from your side. But what about from the university? What is the university looking for when they want to check if you are making a difference, you are achieving in your role?
I think the number of students that graduates, the university can measure us with the number of students graduating, because students cannot graduate without our office placing them with to the industries.
Wow. And that is big. I mean, we graduating students, but it's never enough for the country. Yes. So over and above the students graduating and the number of degree students being increasing every year from all universities, what impact are we making at the society level other than jobs creation, and what else do you think we are delivering as institutions?
I think society, even if you are not a student, if there is a university in your place, there's so many things you can get from the university. Information, the information about companies. Even if you don't want to enroll with the university, you can. There's library. You can still go to the library and get and sort some information.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect this, and I think Ndade Mhlala and Mabelane will definitely agree with us here that we are not an island as in institutions or institution of learning. We exist in a society that has a huge gaps that we are to fill, and some of them have nothing to do with academic work. The environments around which we find ourselves, like Secunda one that you have. So I'm trying to say that we are a bridge. We are a bridge between the world of learning and the world of work. And when that bridge delivers the graduates that make impact, something somewhere, somehow, the society respond. So we talk about triple problems: unemployment, crime, and you name it. So those are some of the things that I wanted you to reflect on, to say, yes, you're working for the university, you're delivering on the university's mandate, but there is some sort of calling and social ills out there that by being successful, we are delivering on behalf of VUT. And that you may not be paid for, but definitely you are recognized for. Have you ever sat and thought about that?
Yes, I thought about that. Yes, we are the bridge between the industry and the bridge community industry in the university.
Because sometimes the society will not have the opportunity to come and thank you, and you may even think that people are not grateful. But the reality is that when that young child coming from Embalenhle or Sekhukhune or somewhere else graduating, from that day, that village will never be the same. You agree?
Yes, of course, it won't be the same. It will never be the same.
Yeah. So I thought those sometimes in Ndade Mhlala, those are some of the milestones and the scorecards that we don't get paid for. But certainly they edify us, and they make us feel part of the society. So yeah, so I just thought we should share reflection there, and also try to give bigger meanings to our work than just delivering on the scorecard of the university.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ndade Mhlala.
You're quite correct there. If you look at also the role that we play as a cooperative education, the placement we do for work integrated learning, lending some of these students into jobs, and some of those people in their communities or their families, they might be the first to even have a qualification. that on its own, it's an impact. Then secondary to that would be getting employed. When they are employed, now the economic status of the family is changing. Beyond that, you'd find some of them having their parents having some chronic diseases and so forth. Them being able to financially support the family, assist them now to get better medical care for their parents. You know, the extent of the impact we have, it's measurable in many ways. And if you look at also the role that we play also as BUT, we've got a department which is the Law Clinic, based at one of our site campus in Sebokeng. As a department, we've got the students studying the course legal assistance. The Law Clinic itself has a role of giving free legal advice and assistance to the community of the VAL free of charge. We then come with the students, sometimes we even get stipends from the SETAs and give them students who studied legal assistance to go and help in that law clinic. So you can see the impact that there's a community member from Sebokeng or around the VAL community who's challenged, who needs legal assistance and cannot afford to pay such services. And there we come with the students, and so the impact we really have around our community, this goes beyond even the VAL community.
Is huge. It's an ecosystem, and I think Sylvia, you can relate. Thanks, Ndadimkla. You can relate very well to the ecosystem of Secunda that you know very well.
Yes.
Everything is interdependent there.
Yes, I can relate to what Ntate Mohlala just said. Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Now I am sitting outside, and I aspire to become a Sylvia one day. Do what Sylvia does, because I've been motivated and I want to follow that career. What kind of attributes do you think are needed, are required to be able to walk the journey you've walked, and more so to do this kind of work? That's why I was asking earlier on, reflect on, and I asked if you were caring, over and about being a caring person. What attributes will make you employed in a role like this?
I think one must be willing to learn new things. Remember, in this role, you learn every day. You must be willing to learn. You need to be fast, to be a fast learner, and a person who's also active on social medias. You have to know your surroundings.
Yeah, it's not just the qualification that you bring with.
The qualification, yes.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm looking at time. We almost close to ending. I hope we have made you reflect a little bit on your journey, not just the job. I don't know whether you have ever sat down and really retrace your steps, where you started as that young girl, moving from Nigel to Secunda to where you are now. It must be mouthful. What thoughts and occupying your mind that are brought by this conversation in terms of your journey?
I think as human beings, we don't look back. I think this conversation is an eye-opener. We don't look back. We just move forward. We don't look back. It is an eye-opener to me. Sometimes we really forget where we started when we are in the positions. We forget where we're starting. It is a really eye-opener, this conversation.
Beautiful. Because I myself, as I was going through your profile, it inspired me, because I can relate to the era during which you started your career. It was hard. And then the bravery you had of going to a really heavy industrial place like Secunda. and be among the very few women, I'm sure even very few Black women for that matter, and you pull through. And today look at the support that we build around universities for the benefit of students, the transitional support to move from university to industry. One can take it for granted. And then to have found somebody like you who started through those difficult days, sitting and say, I don't want the students to go through what I went through, but I want also to share with them what I've had to deal with. I just wanted you to pat yourself in the back, but also take those lessons and package them and make them the content of your conversations with students. With those few words, what has been confirmed for you?
Yeah, I think, yes. I think being independent at the early age, it plays a big role to a young individual. Even if the person is thrown in a deep end, he can survive.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I hope we have renewed you and you have more inspiration. You were saying to me that you think you have completed your chapter. I hope I've challenged you to say it's just the beginning of a bigger chapter. Am I right?
Yes, I am challenged.
Yeah, because we have a lot to offer. Our history is a book on its own, and it must be read. But for it to be read, we must open it up.
Yes.
And this is what we have done, and this is what we're trying to do with this conversation. You just didn't drop from somewhere. You went through a process, and that process can be very helpful to many other people out there. And I hope you feel the same way. Your closing remarks?
Okay, my closing remark it would be people need to learn to the people who are in front of them. Learn from your community. You can learn from anybody. You don't have to learn from the people who are much educated, or you can learn from your community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to spend the whole 1 hour on your journey. I know it's very hard to relive so many things that happened so many years ago, but I think that has been quite very inspirational, and it links very nicely with the job you do and the entire mandate of the cooperative education and the bigger strategic intent of universities of technology. We're making huge impact. We might not see it today, but 10, 20 years from now, this will be revealed to us. And therefore, we should not despair. We should not take our eyes off the ball. And you have represented the unit very well as we do this every month until we have covered everybody to talk about your portfolio, but also about the work of the unit. And I'm sure you're looking forward to hear from the other colleagues that are going to be coming. Last month we had Ndadem Motlala. I'm sure he's enjoying watching similar engagement. So that's beautiful. This was the Valley University of Technology Student Academic Development Support and Work Integral Learning show. The show that happens every month. The intention is to inspire the stakeholders to share our knowledge, our insights, information, so that we are in a position to have people coming to us much more better informed. We were talking to Sylvia Konase, who's the information coordinator at the Valley University of Technology Cooperative Education Department. She has a very rich history that started from a small town or township of Duduza to Embalenhle in Mpumalanga and back to here in Gauteng province. As said by Makanya here, a sweet and humble soul. That for me, it's says it all. Thank you so much, Sis Sylvia, for your generosity and the hard work that you are delivering to the team at Valley University of Technology. Thank you so much. Enjoy the holidays. There's a lot of holidays in April and the beginning of May. We will connect again in May, last Wednesday of May, when we shall be talking to another colleague from the Cooperative Education Department. There's still more to learn about this wonderful team and what the work they do and the transformation that they're bringing through the support they give to the students. Thank you very much, and you take care. Colleagues, stay in the studio as I disconnect from the viewers.